Okay, so picture this, a super busy train station in India. You know the vibe, right? It's just constant motion, people saying hello, goodbye, always in a rush. This is a story about a guy named Sandeep, and a moment that changed everything for him right there on platform number 3.
Yeah, this one phrase, it just says it all. The train is here, eat fast, throw fast. It's like the unofficial soundtrack to this whole scene. It's more than just words. It's a mindset, a mantra for living life in the fast lane, always between one train and the next. There's just no time to stop and think. And that world, that was Sandeep's life. Totally. He was a sales pro, so his whole existence basically mirrored that crazy energy on the platform. Everything was just go, go, go. Everything was fast. So every single week, he was making that trip from Surat to Mumbai. His life was all about speed, a fast-paced job, food that you just grab and eat on the run, and split-second decisions. And platform number 3, that was his spot. It was his regular haunt for a quick cup of tea and a bite to eat before hopping on the train. And when he was done, or, mostly done with his food, he'd just kind of shove the wrapper and whatever was left into a corner. And his reason? Oh, it's a classic, right? The cleaner will get it. It wasn't like he was being a bad guy on purpose. It was just thoughtless. A tiny little moment of not my problem in the name of just being fast and convenient. But then, one evening, something shifted. That same old platform, it suddenly turned into a kind of mirror for Sandeep. And honestly, what he saw in that reflection, it was going to change everything. So here's what happened. The train was late. And for the first time in a long time, that relentless pace, it was broken. The platform got more and more crowded. And something else started to grow too, a smell. It was wafting over from that corner. The one that had become the unofficial garbage dump. Just a sticky, gross mess of old food and plastic. And that's when he saw him. A little boy, couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 years old, walking right up to that pile of trash. He bent down, picked something out of all that filth, and he started to eat it. And right then, for Sandeep, everything just stopped. Just on pure instinct, Sandeep yelled out, "Hey, don't eat that." The boy just froze and looked up at him. He didn't say a word, but his eyes asked this incredibly simple but just devastating question. Well, then why is it here? And Sandeep, he had no answer. Absolutely nothing. That silent question just hit him like a punch to the gut. It felt like an accusation, and it sparked this massive internal shift. It's all about the weight, the real weight of a single piece of food tossed aside. So he looks over at the pile, really looks at it. He sees all the usual stuff, half-eaten snacks, spilled drinks, broken plates. But then, his eyes locked onto something, a familiar, half-eaten vada pav. It was the one he had thrown there, maybe an hour ago. And suddenly, this wasn't just some anonymous pile of trash anymore. That was his. And you can see the huge shift that happened in his head right here. Before that moment, that pile was just kachra, trash. It was a problem with the system, somebody else's job to deal with. But in a split second, it completely changed. It wasn't trash anymore. It was food. And it being there wasn't the system's failure. It was his. Now, a moment like that, it could have just ended there, right? A flash of guilt that you feel bad about and then forget. But not for Sandeep. For him, this was the starting point for actually doing something. And it all began with one very deliberate step. Fast forward to the very next day. Everything looks the same. It's the same platform, you've got the same vendors, he even buys the same tea and vada pav. But Sandeep, he was different. And this time, he was going to make a different choice. And his new routine was super simple, but the key is that it was deliberate. Okay, so step 1, he actually finished all his food. No more leftovers. Step 2, he folded the wrapper up neatly. Step 3, he looked around and found a trash can. Yeah, it was a little bit of a walk, but he went over to it. And step 4, he threw it away properly. That's it. 4 simple, conscious steps. Look, in the grand scheme of a massive, chaotic train station, this was a tiny action. Almost nothing, right? But the most important part is that it was conscious. It was him making a deliberate choice to take responsibility. It was like this little act of mindfulness in a world that's all about rushing. And that one small conscious choice, it didn't just stop with Sandeep. It started to create these little ripples, sparking this quiet, slow transformation right there on platform number 3. So Sandeep started talking to the colleagues he traveled with. He'd just casually say, "Hey man, let's not just throw the food there. Either finish it or, let's find a bin." And yeah, most of them kind of laughed it off or just ignored him. But one person started doing it too. And pretty soon, that one person became two. A little bit of momentum started to build. Look, it wasn't some big revolution, not at all. But it was a start. I mean, let's be real. Platform number 3 didn't magically become spotless. But that one corner, the one that used to be a mountain of trash, it started to look a little cleaner. The change was small, for sure, but it was real. You could see it. And then, one day, Sandeep saw the boy again. But this time was different. He wasn't digging through the trash. He was standing at a food stall, actually buying a fresh snack from a vendor. Sandeep just stood back and watched. And there was no big moment, no applause, no one came up to thank him. Nobody knew the tiny part he played in this. But just watching that scene, Sandeep felt this deep internal sense of peace. There's a word for it, sukoon. It's that kind of satisfaction you get not from anyone else patting you on the back, but just from knowing, deep down, that you did the right thing. And this really gets to the heart of what Sandeep realized. That food on the platform, it wasn't just trash. It was a symptom of something bigger. It was a sign that, in our endless rush, we sometimes end up throwing away a little piece of our own humanity along with the garbage. And that kind of brings it all back to us, doesn't it? It leaves us with a big question. For Sandeep, his wake-up call happened on a train platform. It was a small, ordinary place where one conscious choice actually made a difference. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What's your platform 3? Where in your own life is there a corner that you can start to clean up?
एक कदम विकसित भारत की ओर।